much resistance or how much ease you might be needing in this moment to settle into your meditation. This is kind of like the context, like everything going on in your situation, in your environment, externally and internally. Some days when you sit down, you might easily just slide right in. And if that's where you are, awesome. You can soften the listening to my words. And if you feel like, yeah, you're sitting, but you're not really meditating yet, listen to my words more. First, taking in all of the sounds you hear. And as you start to identify the various sounds, can you let it be like all the same volume level? So not one sound is disturbing you more than another. It's just sounds arising in the moment. And you can do that with your thoughts too. Thoughts are just another sound. So instead of gripping onto the thought and spinning off into whatever the thought has to hook you with, can you feel the arising of the thought and just let it be another part of the noise that's just happening in this moment? Something else that's always happening in the moment is that you're breathing. So without changing your breath, just witness the breath. You might noticing that your witnessing of it makes it change. And as if you were like sitting and watching a ballet or a band or whatever kind of performance you might go and watch, can you watch the breath dance for you with all of your senses? While feeling the way it moves through the body. Maybe noticing if there's some kind of smell to it. Notice the sound of the breath. Not needing to change or control anything, just being the observer. And beginning to tap in to the remembrance of the intelligence within yourself. And so your organism has such an intelligence, it's doing millions of things for you every second, and its whole purpose is to protect you. However, we have other things come in that can kind of tweak with how our body tries to bring ourselves back to homeostasis, and it ends up throwing us out more. So the more we can get in touch with our essence and our body's intelligence, the more the body can return us to a harmonious space. Okay, let's take the hands underneath or to the heart. Bow your head. Now keep pushing your hands to your chest. If you're wearing a shirt, I like to pull my shirt down so I can get skin on skin if it's possible. So I'm going to push my skin into my chest and give a little tug down, and then draw the chin up to the sky. You can even push up a little underbite there so the jaw protrudes more. And then drop your chin to your throat or your chin to your chest, around your spine a little bit. And then open, chin comes up. You can do this either sitting in stillness with your spine mostly still with the movement isolated into the neck, or you can let this turn into a cat-cow. So when you round your spine, maybe the forehead goes closer to the floor, and as you arch your spine back, let your navel get long. And if you're beginning to take these in cat-cows, you might instantly notice that you have some extra bendy vertebrae, and you might have some vertebrae that tend to not move at all. Without becoming too problem-solving, can you try to find the strings that don't get stretched as often? I like doing this with a little shimmy through my spine. So sticking my ribs from one side to the other, either small or big, as I move back and forth, finding the other little threads and strings that go up the side body. When we do tend to overstretch those strings too much, they become frayed from overuse. We don't want frayed fabric. As you inhale, stretch your arms out around and up towards the sky. Interlace your palms above you and stretch your palms up. And then stretch your palms forward. Interlace palms stretching forward, and then take them up again. Then forward, round the spine back. Try to pull the belly to the spine. Maybe do a little pull of the hands more to the right, and then a pull of the hands more to the left. And then up one more time when you're done. If you find an interesting spot, just totally ignore me and play with it, and then meet back up. And we're going to release the left fingertips all the way down to the floor. And we're going to take the right hand just a little bit, my whole body a little bit lower than shoulder height. And then begin to stretch through your thumb more. And then stretch through your index finger more. This doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I'm pushing out now your middle finger more. I think I said middle before I meant pointer. Now your ring finger, now your pinky finger. Noticing how it feels different when you stretch out through a different finger. Maybe twirling your hand or making a fist and pushing through your fist. So experimenting with the way you reach, how that changes the sensation. So it can be called nerve flossing. So there's a bunch of nerves that innervate from our brain down here into the arms, into the rest of our body. When the muscles get really tight, let the left ear drop over to the left shoulder. Maybe take little movements with the head, keep reaching out in different ways with your right hand. Maybe bring your hand more forward or more back or more up or more down. Maybe you spin it. Just try to find those tight strings. So when muscles or fascia, when the fascia that wraps around your muscles, it wraps around the muscle cells, when that gets really tight around a nerve, it can lead to a lot of nerve pain, carpal tunnel syndrome. You can stay here. I love this place. Or you can take your right hand and wrap it around you. You're bringing it onto your low back. Seeing if that makes this stretching more delightful. I like to take my left hand to my right hand to give it a slight pull over to the left. If you're feeling this and you're thinking, I don't know if I'm doing this right, this doesn't make sense, go back to where it feels like it's working for you. That goes the whole time. Okay, bring both fingertips to the floor, roll your chin down towards your chest. Take your hands underneath your sternum again, like we did at the beginning. Do your up and down with your chin. And kind of get a little bit more into your cat and your cow. As we connect all these different strings, sending love and friendliness to them. Okay, really nice. Stretch your arms up towards the sky. This time we're going to interlace the hands like we did before, but we're not going to flip them up. We're going to keep the palms face down. Now watch that and if your legs get tired at any time, you can stretch them out or you can uncross them, or we're here for a little bit longer. I want my spine to be in one line. So I'm trying to draw my head back, and then I'm going to take my arms in a circle. I'm trying to take my hands behind my head and is as much as comfortable. What tends to happen is people's heads come forward. So imagine that you're in a car and you can push the back of your head, back of the ribs, back of your bum up against the car as you rotate your hands in a circle. Bring your awareness to the two triangle bones on your upper back, your scapula, and feel how they move. People tend to get frozen scapulas pretty easily, or you lose some of your mobility in the shoulder, which can mess up the intelligence and how we move. Okay, take the circle in the other direction. Maybe softening or closing the eyes. You can visualize as you inhale, you pull the breath down through the back of the throat, back of the ribs, low back. So keeping the low back full. Really nice, stretch your arms up to the sky, release your hands, and then right fingertips come to the floor. Left hand lowers about a little bit less than halfway. And we'll stretch out through one fingertip at a time. So left thumb, left index finger, left middle finger, left ring finger, left pinky finger. Beginning to move your hand however you'd like as you try to discover your tight strings. Right ear can come over to the right shoulder. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's letting yourself move into the magic under the skin. You can stay here, or you can take your left hand behind your back to like your right back pocket. Or you can take your right hand to your left hand and pull it around. Binds though, when we do binds, I think it can be easy to pay so much attention to the outer shape, we lose the magical experience. So if that makes you lose it, come back to a place that you can find it. Really nice. And release. Let's do one more thing. Let's grab your ball. We're going to take our ball right underneath like our jaw. So if you have to like your eye, your cheek, and then like the ridge underneath your cheek, and rub it from the ridge all the way back towards the earlobe and forward. So this is where your TMJ is, your temporal mandibular joint. I think almost everyone has TMJ problems. We just don't know about it because it's so chronic. And the TMJ is also connected to the pelvic floor. So if one is tight, normally they're both tight. So now we'll come back to that spot and we're gonna press and hold. So sometimes I'll support my other elbow and I collapse my head into the ball. Staying with the sensations. Kind of move your ball a little bit more to the ear. So you're kind of at that, like where the skull makes that little triangle up here, and do a pressure right there. You can move your jaw around a little bit, like release your teeth, move your jaw, open and close your mouth. Oh, so could sound like an hour here, I think, but we won't. Then take it up towards your temple, hand pressure to the ball, take it up to your forehead. And then bring it to your third eye, push, wake up, stimulate pineal gland, pituitary gland. Nice, and then we'll do the other, actually first just pause, let your eyes close and soften. Bring your awareness to the skin of your face and just underneath your skin. And can you tell a difference from where you massaged and where you didn't? Well, wherever we touch with the ball, we're waking up the proprioceptions and the way that the little guys in our muscles, in our skin and our fascia communicate to our brain. Now let's do the other side. And it's that communication that gets us in touch with our own intelligence, move it back and forth, where then the healing can really be optimal. Going back and forth. Normally, when I work with the balls, I like to do hello rubs, and then more intense rubs, and then goodbye rubs. So after you finish your greeting your jaw, we'll go into that first point. And focus on letting the breath fall out through your nose or your mouth. The breath of relaxation helping to soften any tension that might be building. And move the ball out to the corner. Move the jaw around. If you're having a hard time finding sensation, move the ball around until you find a different place. Okay. Now begin to palm roll it up the temple, forehead, chin, third eye. Now take the ball in your right hand, go over to the left, and we're going to massage the trap. So the muscles that they connect on right underneath the bony bump on the side of your head goes down your neck and then over. So that like raised muscle right there. We're just going to take the ball and do a little bit of quick compressions. I'm wondering how your guys' knees, while we're doing this, feel about Malasana squat. This pose, where you widen your knees like this, heels can be off the floor. If that doesn't feel good on your body, give me like a thumbs down or type it into the text or something. And then we'll take it on the other side. So we're not doing the Malasana squat right now. I just wanted to check. Because I was like, are they both getting up to tell me that they can't do it? And then I was like, oh no, they're in it. No, I'm not. Oh. Switching sides if you haven't. Just waking up the body, becoming more in tune with what's actually going on. Okay. Really nice. And open the arms, let them like move around. Stretch them out to the side, stretch them forward, stretch them back. I really like playing in those three planes. Forward, sides, back, maybe like a twist and a twist. And it's great because it shows our mobility, but it's also getting that scapula moving so it doesn't get glued into one place on our back. Okay, let's come forward to table on our hands and knees. And let's do a few cat-cows. As you inhale, round, push down through your hands and up through your spine. And as you exhale, sit bones slide back, belly gets long, look forward. Inhale, round. Exhale, soften. Watch the breath again. Experience the breath and see if the breath can be what initiates the movement. This doesn't need to be your biggest cat and cow. Let's see if you can feel as you take the breath in and your belly expands, it lifts up through your spine. And as you exhale, the spine softens and surrenders down towards the floor. Right, nice. So we're going to flip the palms. We're going to turn the hands out towards the sides. So the fingertips are facing away from each other. So this is the in-between place. So if this next step feels too intense, come back to the fingers being straight out away from each other, thumbs face forward. So you can start to turn your fingertips more back towards your knees. If you know you're a hyperextender, try to keep a little bend in your elbows. So you don't want those one strings too tight. And then do your cat-cow here. Really nice. Flip the palms back around. Palms face forward. Keep your spine rounded like in cow. And begin to sit back towards your heels. Not all the way, because I still want you to be rounding like a cow. And up a cat. And then in your cat, begin to shift forward. As your shoulders come over your elbows, bend your elbows. And then pull, hips come to the floor. And then pull yourself into a cobra. And then as you exhale, lower down. See if you can lower one vertebrae at a time. So very slowly, belly button, floating ribs, chest, then head. Push into your hands and your knees, belly strong. Push back up, reverse chaturanga. You could push into your hands and your knees and not do the push-up if you want. And then round your spine and go back towards your cat child's pose, like a little spring. And then come forward through cat, bend your elbows, hips come down, cobra, and then lower down. Pull yourself forward as you lower. We'll do one more. Push up through reverse chaturanga. Back through child's pose. Keeping the hands planted and the spine round. And then from here, make your way back downward facing dog. I've been really liking that kind of chaturanga lately. In your down dog, take a moment to listen and watch as the body begins to move into its stretches that it's looking for. You could bend and straighten a leg or shift your heels from side to side. Maybe stretch out with one arm and then the other. Bringing a little bit of movement to get more flow through the layers. And then look forward. We're going to step our feet forward in lots of steps. And then when you get to your forward fold, put a soft bend in your knees. Roll the shoulders out, rotate the head. And then we're going to slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time and focus on the one vertebrae at a time, and that will stop you from overstretching your flexible strings. One vertebrae. After the head lifts, lift the arms up. Full stretch. And as you exhale, forward fold, put a little bend in your knees, send your thighs back. And just like we were lowering down in our cobra, lower your belly, your chest, and your head. So it comes down like that wave too. Let's do it again. Slowly roll all the way up. See if you can feel where the stretch is happening, increasing your proprioception. Arms go up at the end. And then when you're ready, knees soften, inner thighs slide back, belly, chest, head. Right, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your knees to the floor. Exhale, sit back towards your heels, rounded spine. Inhale, begin to shift forward. Lower the hips, pull yourself cobra. Exhale, slowly lower down to your belly, pulling more length into your spine. Inhale, push back up, reverse chaturanga or your modification. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. Keep your hips squared for this first one. And then step your right foot forward between your hands. Bring your back knee to the floor or a cushion, and then shift back towards Ardha Hanumanasana. You could use your blocks here. We're going to activate the hamstring, keep a bend in the knees. That's not all the way straight. Pull the heel back until the hamstring turns on. With the hamstring turned on, drag your sit bone back and up. And then release, shift forward to your lunge. Engage, pull back, lift the sit bone. Working to find your engagement with the movement. And then start to find your tighter strings. So start to take the pinky toe more towards the floor, knee always tracks towards the ankle, and still pulling the heel back as you move into a stretch. Most people tend to be more tight on the outer leg. Nice. The next time you come forward, lift up your back knee. And begin to make circles with your hips. You don't need to be big, and it shouldn't feel painful. But fascia adapts when we do the same movement all the time. So we might be able to target specific muscles, but it's harder to target the fascia. So we want to do non-linear movements we haven't done before to find the tighter strings. Really nice. Bring your hands inside of your foot. So both of your hands are inside of your right foot. And then step your left foot to the outside of your hands. So we're in a wide forward fold or a slightly wide forward fold. Pivot the heels in a little bit and then squat into your Malasana squat. So heels can be up. I like that. And if you want to take pressure off the knees, you could put a block under your butt or a pillow so you don't have as much weight. Now we're going to take our palms together in prayer position and push the knees out. Squeeze the knees in. So the knees are starting to point towards you. And then with the elbows, push them out. So when we squeeze the knees in, we're activating our adductors, our inner thighs. And then using the elbows, we push out with the muscles turned on. My heels are up, so I'm not tweaking anything. Okay, last one, push it out. Now with your palms flat together, turn your palms down, your fingertips down to the floor. You can take the heel of the hand either up more towards your chest or down more towards the floor and find a wrist flexion. Really nice. Fingertips to the floor, standing forward fold, walk your feet together. Slowly roll up all the way. Feeling all the strings up through the back. Let the heart arms reach up. Then once they get to the very top, fold it back down. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower the knees down to the floor table. Exhale, puff the spine up, sit back towards child's pose like your spring. Inhale, cat table comes forward, bend your elbows, pull cobra. Keep pulling your hands back as you lower down one vertebrae at a time. Take a round of breath here. Let your body be supported by earth. And then push through your hands and your knees, reverse push up. And then sit back on your heels with your toes tucked. So if your knees are sensitive to the floor, you could put like a pillow on your knees, under your knees. And then we're tucking our toes underneath. So all the feet are active. Depending on your foot history, you might not be able to do this toe tuck for very long. So you can alternate between standing on your toes, standing on your knees, or pointing your toes and sitting on your heels. That's great. It's a great way to get into the feet. So toes are tucked, open your arms out wide. Let's bring the right elbow underneath the left. Eagle arms. Squeeze your arms together. That's how we're going to get the engagement. Squeeze through the hands, the forearms, the elbows. And then take your elbows up towards the sky. Keep the head and chest still. And then bring the elbows down towards the belly. Keep squeezing in as you go up and down. Remember, you can change what's going on with your feet. And then we're going to start to take it option into more of a cat-cow. As you lift up, open up more, and as the elbows come down, you can round it. Really nice. Next time the arms come up, stretch them out to the side. Inhale, bring your hands back through center. Exhale, spin your thumbs in, stretch your arms forward, pinky fingers up. Inhale, hands back through center, broad chest. As you exhale, open or bring the hands down by your side. So it's kind of like you're pushing into cobra. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, push. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, center. Really nice. So I've been loving this arm stuff because it's very meditative and like Tai Chi, but again, fantastic for shoulder non-linear movement. Really nice from here. Plant your hands, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Bring your, I think I said right, left foot should be forward. Right knee on the floor, seconds 5. Sorry if I messed that up. Beginning to set up for our hamstring flossing. So the left foot's going to come forward. Hands can be on the inside. Blocks are terrific for this so the spine isn't round. Pull the heel back, little bend in the knee. Hamstring should be engaged. You can reach around and check. And then relax to come forward. Engage as you stretch back. I'm just helping our body help itself, helping our organism help itself. Happy Mother's Day to you all. A conversation I've been having a lot is just like how much us women, especially mothers, hold, and how we're so good at helping other people do the things that they want to do, but we can put ourselves lower on the list. This can be a really nice self-care practice as well. Okay, let's turn the pinky toe more towards the floor and begin to floss at the diagonal. The lateral fascia tends to be the most dense fascia in the human body. That's where the IT band is, your AB, abductors, some glute stuff. That's nice to get in there. Okay, really nice. Come back through center, hands to the inside of the foot, fingertips on the floor or blocks, lift up the back knee. Step your right foot wide, sit into your Malasana squat. Nice, we're gonna do our adductors one more time. So squeezing the knees into the midline, squeezing them in, and then let the elbows overpower them and push the engaged legs out. Come in, engage, push out. Come in, engage, push out. This time, take the right fingertips to the floor. You could also raise the floor by putting your hand on a block. And then take your left hand to your knee. Squeeze the right shoulder back a little bit. Stay here. Or you can go towards half bind by taking the left hand around to your low back. Or you can clasp if you want, but try to find the stretch through the tight strings, connecting to all of your fabric. Come back to center, unwind, left hand down, right hand up to the knee, back behind, find your place. Really nice. Come back through center. When you're ready, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. In your down dog, put a little bend in your knees and take both of your heels to the right and then both of your heels to the left. So you're on the inner edge of the foot and the outer edge and you're switching off. Now we're going to see if we can do that in plank. So come forward towards plank. Knees can be up or down, but slide out, let your hips drop to one side and then the other. I get light on my other hand when I drop my hip. Again, just taking the body through movement it doesn't normally get to experience. All right, come back to your down dog. That was fun. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Bend your right knee this time. Open your hip to the right. Now kick your right leg straight. Wide open leg. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Left fingertip to the floor. Inhale, open up through the arm. Exhale, release the open. Right fingertips come back down to the floor. Inhale, open up, feel the right hand drag up. The elbow comes up first, then the hand. Exhale, unwind. See if you can let your breath do it. We'll be here for like 10 more rounds of breath. Last one. Keep your arm up, stretch it over your head. Really nice. Fingertips to the floor, step your left foot forward. Inhale, slowly roll all the way up. Stretch the arms up to the sky. And then when you're ready, roll down one vertebrae at a time. You can even start with your head. However feels best to you. Fingertips to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Shifting hips, let your hips, you can either stay back here in down dog. Shifting the hips, getting more glide in them, or take it forward and get a little bit more interactive with the side body. You might even be able to sit your right hip down and then turn around Navasana to the back of the room. Then turn in the direction you came, so to the right. Press back up, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank, drop the hip to the left. Roll over onto your bum, Navasana. Spin back the other direction. Downward dog. Pretty fun. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot forward between your hands. Out on the right fingertips or a block. Let the left hand be limp. And then breathe life through the pose. As you uncurl and let yourself melt down as you exhale and release. Always being interested and curious to find the tighter strings. All right, so next time the arm comes up, keep it there, maybe stretch it forward, up over your ear. Really nice, and then step forward, forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Stretch up. Exhale, roll down. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Shift your hips, bend your knees, right hip drops. Spin on your butt, Navasana, back of the room. On your Navasana, shift both of your hips to the right, or shift both of your knees to the right, so you're sitting more on your right glute. And take both of your hands to the left. Let your fingers be soft. Now switch over to your left bum. Knees to the left, fingers soft to the right. Go back to the right, fingers soft to the left. See if you can let your long fingers gently touch the floor. It's harder with the right hand on the outside of the left hip. Soft fingers, and then come back through center, switch sides onto the left hip. Soft fingertips, try to touch the carpet or the ground, your mat on the right side of the hip. Okay, come back through center, soft hands and feet. Spin back over to your right, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Shift your heels to the left. Bend your left butt towards the floor. Yeah, side stretch. Getting into the serratus here, your lats, your QL. Sit on your bum, spin around. Again, shift over to the right glute, hands to the left, keep them high. Shift over to the left glute, hands to the right. Shift over to the right glute. This time, see if you can lightly touch your toes to the floor. Now knees to the left, onto the left glute. Toes touch the floor. Back to center. Breathe it, shimmy it off, and then come back. Downward facing dog. Really nice. Bring your knees down. Let's come into a sitting posture. I'm going to use my cushion. Okay. We're going to do some of our breathing arms. So today, the way I want to work it, sometimes we'll do it with our breath. We'll do inhale, hold, inhale, expand, exhale down. Today, it's going to be inhale, get expanded through all sides of the chest. So the collarbones, broad, chestless, but also the back of the ribs. We want a lot of movement, all right, a lot of expansion. And then when we exhale, we're going to move the arms. So inhale, I'm going to expand into my chest, exhale. My thumbs are going to turn down, fingers, index fingers up, hands go forward. So my shoulder blades spread on my back. And I'm going to inhale, bring my elbows back, and then I'm going to flip them like someone is grabbing my upper arm and spinning my armpit up. So it's like this spin. A lot of times people will do it at the shoulder or the hand, and their elbow will rotate, but their scapula won't. So think you just went forward. And now as you bend the elbows back, you're gonna flip them up. Scapulas will lift the chest, inhale, and then exhale, the palms will flip down and push back. Same thing, inhale, the upper arm bones flip open, scapulas move together, and then exhale forward. So we'll move through that. Inhale. Humerus, upper arm bones flip up, soft palms, expanded chest. Exhale, like you're pushing through water, lift the chest, throat back. Letting this become your own. Maybe this is going to feel like really meditative, letting the breath move the body. Maybe this is going to feel really like physical as you move parts of your body that normally you don't move. When you get to the top of the inhales and the top of the exhales, pause for a moment and see if there's any tension that you can release. Soft hands. Really nice. And let your hands land on your legs. Excuse me. Just notice how you're feeling. The answer doesn't need to be great. And if it's not like a positive how you're doing, That's okay too, right? Okay, so now we're gonna start to do throw our ball and arm work. So we're gonna be using a block and a ball. First, start with just the hand. Rolling the block over it, just getting those little bones in the hand to articulate and move so they don't get frozen. Remember that the fascia, this spider-like web scaffolding that holds our body in place, if it's not getting moved, it becomes like glue and freezes things in place and sets off a cascade of problems. The spider-like structure, they're like little tubes. Okay, now we're gonna come down to our forearm. And for my laziness sake, I'm gonna stack my blocks so I don't have to bend over as much. Sometimes I'll do this laying on my stomach too, so figure out where you're comfortable. First, we're gonna do the ulna. So the ulna is on the pinky side of the arm. It's where you feel like that bone. And just anterior, so a little bit more towards the top of your forearm than the bottom meaty part of your forearm, there's like a little groove where the ulna is. So we're just going to massage that groove. If you have two balls next to you that happen to be in like a sock or something, you can do this with two of them as well. Just going up and down that groove. So the fascia, it's like a spider web, and if they have these cameras now that can get so close to see what's actually happening under the tissues, and it looks like a spider web, but the webbing is like a lot of little tubes, and the tubes transport fluid because we're like 80% water, and then slowly we dehydrate and we lose the fluidness that allows for us to be elastic and rebound and our reboundness. So this is like breaking up the plaque that gets stuck in those tubes. Now we're going to do the other side. So now my meaty side of my forearm is on the ball, palm face down, going back and forth, kind of like our hello. And then if you find an area, you can then apply pressure. So you can either just be rolling around on it, you can apply pressure and then lean, either just body weight. I like to add my other hand. And then I love pin and lengthen. So now that we have the muscle pinned down, we can bring length to the muscle by moving our hand. And then it's like fascia flossing, because we floss the fascia when we engage and then we move. It's gonna be really good if you use your hands a lot. Okay. Oh, I could just do this for so long. It's just so good, right? I want to show you like all of these things. Like, can't you see? Like, even like doing this at like a table is nice because then you don't have to lean forward. It's like your table's just there. Okay, nice. Roll off your wrist a little bit. And like, notice what you feel. Put both of your palms face up. And notice the difference between one forearm to the other. Can you feel the life in it? I can feel like it's just like, oh yeah, my arm's alive. I forget. Okay, so I like to come down onto my belly for this. So let me show you at first. We're going to be getting our tricep. And in yoga, we tend to use a lot of our tricep, like in downward facing dog or chaturanga. So I'm going to probably do one block, level up. I'm going to lay down on my stomach, and I'm going to be getting my tricep. When you work with props, the hardest thing is just getting graceful with them because it can be so hard to maneuver. This is a more challenging one for me. So again, you can roll it. This one's a little bit, I'm not as good at rolling. I like to pin it down and then straighten. Yes, there it is. I think one of the like major answers when questions come up about like yoga as we work with our fascia, so normally it can always be improved if we slow down. We tend to be very quick people. So if you're unsure what to do ever, you can always try just trying to slow down a little bit more. Can get some really nice spots up by the elbow. And we try to avoid putting things directly on the bone. We're trying to look for the soft tissue around the bone. Okay, really nice. So now that we're down here, we're going to, I'm going to position so you can see me better. I'm going to lay on my right side. I'm going to lay on my right side like a little pillow with my block. But now I'm going to get in there with my jaw. So again, I'm going to start closer to my nostril underneath like the ridge of my teeth. And I'm going to put my head on the ball. If this is too intense, you can sit up and hold the ball onto your mouth like we did at the beginning of class. Letting your weight release, maybe move your chin around. And now take the ball up more towards that triangle, closer to the ear. You might roll your head around a little bit and find a more sensitive spot, like sometimes down towards the angle of the jaw. That's where the TMJ crosses over. So finding, we'll do one more spot on this side. You might feel other parts of your body tensing. You can see if you can turn off those parts or support them better so they don't feel like you need to turn on. Really nice. And then remove that, roll over onto your back. If you have two balls of the same size, you can do this with both balls. We're going to put the balls right underneath our tracks while we're laying on the ground. If you only have one ball, like I'm only going to use one ball, we're going to only put it on the right side. So we're going to have rolled out our whole right arm, and then we'll do it on the left side. So I have my ball underneath my tracks, and I often have to position it, keep positioning it, because it will like slip out into a weird position. And then I'm going to elevate my hips. And you could either, if you wanted like more heat in your practice, you don't need to use a block. I like to use a block. You have 3 angles with your block. The lower the angle, the less pressure from your body on the block. The higher the angle of the hips, the more weight you're going to have. Like 3 is unbearable for me. So I think I'm going to do 2 for my block. You can either stay still or you can begin to move your right arm around. You can take your right hand straight up to the sky. You can reach your right arm kind of out of the socket up to the sky and squeeze the shoulder blade back into the socket. Or you can begin to lower your right thumb towards the floor. And you can just move intuitively on your own, trying to find the position and also have some time in stillness where you release. My brain is normally always trying to problem solve. And so when I'm in a yoga pose, sometimes I have to tell myself that there's nothing I need to solve right now, that this is it. I don't need to try to do anything right or better. I just need to be right here. That allowance can be really helpful for me. Really nice. Release your block. Lower your hips, remove your ball. Open both of your arms out to the side like a T. And then stretch through both arms. Back of the ribs on the floor, arms reach away. Maybe push the back of the head into the floor and roll one ear to the ground and then roll back through the back of your head. Other ear down, continuing to stretch through the arms. Nice, and then pull your knees in. You can either roll over onto your side or rock forward and back. And we'll come up to sitting and do the other side. We're starting with our left hand. Raising your stools can be nice too as you do more fascia work. Like I keep wanting to go to IKEA and get like a little stool because I feel like that would be a really good angle to do some rubbing on. Right. I'm taking it down to the ulna, palm faces up to the sky, finding that little ridge. I think it was last week that I shared that, so collagen is this, there's in the fascia, there's collagen and elastin. And collagen is, there's a lot of it can be what makes people feel like more stiff, have a stiffer body. And the elastin can be what helps people like a bouncy ball, like bounce back up. And we have both. We have different amounts of it, but we do have both. And so one of the ways you can kind of gauge how your fascia is doing, this is my hypothesis, I'll let you know, and it's like a confirmed fact. Check back in 10 years. But one of the ways I think you should be able to gauge your fascia is how easily it is for you to get up from sitting, because it's like a bouncy ball. Like how quickly can you get up? How quickly can you recover? Like if a baby falls down the stairs, they can just like bounce right up and they're fine. An older person falls down the stairs and it's like they can be in the hospital. So just pay attention to your ease of getting up, and we'll check in with each other. It's always really hard for me to get up. I haven't seen an improvement yet. That's where I'm at. Okay, let's do the meaty part of your forearm. Palm faces down. If you have any golfing friends or tennis friends, or maybe you yourself were a golfer or tennis player, there's two syndromes you can get on your epicondyles, the inner and outer edge of your elbow, and the shorthand for it is golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, and one is medial and one is lateral. But this can be a really nice way of releasing the tension that gives those disorders. Okay, let's get ready to go down onto our tricep. So good, it's so hard to stop. I didn't feel my tricep very much the other time, and I think it's because this purple block is like so soft. I can like just push right into it. So I'm going to use a foam block or a cork block with more density. So you're in so much control as you work with the densities of your props. You could use this is really painful for you, you could use a softer ball like a tennis ball, or if you want something a little more firm, you could use like a bouncy ball or a lacrosse ball. I was told by people not to use lacrosse balls because they're too hard. They can do more damage than good. Same with golf balls. I've heard of tons of people using them, so I think that's a personal choice. You can move back and forth, eventually pinning it down with your other hand and then taking your arm towards extension. As you do this, bring your awareness back to the sounds in your external environment. And see if you can just listen to the tapestry of sound arising in the moment. No particular sound standing up, you're just noticing as the sound happens. And seeing if you can imply that to your inner environment too. So thoughts coming up or sensations, it's all just a happening in the moment. We're just living through it. Okay, then we'll roll over onto our side. Get ready for our TMJ intensity. You're going to lay your face on your ball, starting closer to your nose as you work your way back into the bigger aspect of the muscle. Maybe moving your jaw around. You could see if you prefer to do it on the floor without the block. I like to help the raise. I'm getting to work the block closer to the earlobe. Really nice beginning to unwind onto your back, soles of the feet on the floor. Placing your block under your left trapezius muscle, or using one under each shoulder, and then choosing the height that you want your hips to be. Maybe moving your left arm, maybe taking up to the sky, doing some upper arm bone pulses and down towards the floor and away from the floor. Or start stretching the left thumb back down towards the floor behind you. Any kind of movements that feel like would help. Really nice. This time keep the hips elevated, but remove your block or your ball or balls. Keep it nearby. Stretch your arms out again. One arm and the other, both arms, getting into the nerves that innervate around the head and the neck and the shoulders, rotating the head. And remove your block. Back on the floor, we're going to do some back undulation. So feet on the floor, lift your hips and push your knees forward. And then slowly lift one vertebrae at a time off the floor. And once you get to the top, we're going to go down in the opposite direction. So the back of the chest lowers, back of the ribs, low back, then the sit bones rock down. And then come up the opposite. When in doubt, slow it down. See if you can find, without becoming too analytical, the one part of the parts of your spine that you have very little control over their movement. There's a part in my low back that I cannot get to the floor. It just always wants to stay in a back bend. So that's where I try to bring the most intention as I lower through there. Now as we lift up, we're going to start to alternate the hips. So if the hips up, lower your left hip towards the floor, push up through the right knee. And then lower the right hip towards the floor, push up through the left knee. Bridge walking. Now you can add your upper arm, your arm. So let's go right knee forward, left hip down towards the floor. Now reach your right arm across the body. And I'm going to switch my hips, right hip down, left knee forward, and I'm going to reach my left arm across the body towards the hip that's down. So this should be massaging your rhomboid muscles, switching side to side. So muscles between the scapulas. I'm trying to get some, you're rolling a little bit on your chest, trying to find some muscles to feel into. Okay, so then when you're ready, roll it down. Shake out your legs and your hands. Let's do one more ball thing. Actually, I might do more. I just love the balls. Feet down a little bit wider than hip distance. Now, in the very center of your glutes, we're going to put the ball. So the very center of your glute, your butt cheek, and the ball should be kind of right on the head of the femur bone. So your big thigh bone comes down into the cup of your hip socket, and that ball should be right there. And you'll know if it's not in a second. Now we're going to take both of our knees towards the direction the ball is under. So my ball's under the left glute. So I'm going to take both of my knees to the left. Oh, yes. Mine is right on a tight spot. So I'm just going to stay here, try to be as relaxed and calm as possible. If yours doesn't feel like it's in the right spot, keep trying to explore. If yours feels like it's in too an intense spot and you won't be able to relax enough, that it's creating more tension than ease, then also move the ball a little bit away from where it is so you're not in too intense, especially right towards the end of class. So this is our shavasana. This is going to substitute as a shavasana. So you can make it a little bit more mild, if that calls to you. You bring the knees back through center. Remove the ball, windshield wiper the knees both ways. Notice the way the bones move in the joints and see if you feel a difference between the hip you were just working on and the other hip. And then go ahead and place the ball for your second side. So I'm going right glute, right in the center. A lot of this takes experimenting. If I ever just do it on the first try with you, it's because I've done it in the wrong spot 1,000 times when you weren't watching me. So both of the knees going to the right, feel free to make this your own, shifting the ball or your legs in whatever way you need. There's a lot of tendons that connect muscles to bones that connect onto this thigh bone. And if the fascia is tight around here, which is really common, it makes it so that the femur bone doesn't rotate in the hip. So then if we need to rotate, we'll tend to take it more at the knees or at the SI joint or the vertebrae. And the hip was meant to take rotation, but those other body parts weren't, so we can get tweaked pretty easily. All right, come back to center, remove your ball, take some windshield wipers. If when you do windshield wipers, your low back all the way comes off the floor, if that's you, tell me at some point, not now, but send me a message, because I just want to know that about you. That's something that I would be observing if I was practicing in the same space with you. And play around. If you always have space under your back, which is me, play around that when you do windshield wipers, you have no space under your back. So flatten your back to the floor. And the opposite is true as well. If your low back is always on the floor, see if you can get a little arch in your low back when you do this. And we'll just position our body to access. Drum roll, different strings. Okay, come back to your center, pull your knees into your belly. You can draw your knees in a circle. You can use your hands or not. You could draw your hands and your knees in a heart, going in opposite directions. You can either keep doing this. I think it would feel really good to do this other thing. I'm going to guide you through it. Hold your feet again. Don't need to. Keep your heels pulled in towards your butt. So this is kind of like our Myofascial squat on our back. And then straighten just your right leg out towards the right. Straighten it out as much as you can. Maybe pull the pinky toe more down towards the floor so your butt kind of rocks up. Maybe reach it up to center and then pull it down to the floor again. Like a real life windshield wiper. And then we're going to take it all the way to the left. So I'm going to pull my right leg back towards the right or to the center. Now I'm going to roll over onto my left thigh. And I'm going to take my right big toe towards the floor or to the floor. And you can pull the leg up more towards your face or away from your face and change the angle where you're stretching. And then we'll do it on the other side. Bend your knee. Come back to Myofascial on your back. Take the left leg out to the side. Back through center a few times. We didn't do a ton of stuff in our legs. Also just get a little bit more in there. And then we'll take it to the twist. So rolling over to the right side, left leg comes over. And find the position where you want to be moving it in. Maybe you want to draw the left foot kind of in circles with the help of the left hand. Then come back up. And when you're ready, come all up to your sitting posture. Before we close class, you need to go. I understand I am 5 minutes over, but I wanted to return to our breathing arms one more time to see if you, just to like be connecting. We moved it and we did this more precise work and now we're moving again. So inhale, filling up. Exhale, you can do it however you want. Arms forward. Inhale, arms flip up. I'll cue what I'm doing so you don't have to strain to look. Exhale back. Let your arms flow on your breath in whatever ways that feel good. See if you can enjoy and notice the more fluid nature of your structure. And let your hands start to end in your lap.